In the name of God, hello everyone, welcome. I'm happy to be here attending this event. I congratulate you this ceremonious uh, days. Well, as my friends mentioned in the beginning of this panel, uh, this panel is titled Optimizing Energy. It's a new subject that is being discussed in energy, and we still haven't used all the opportunities in this area, and it's being becoming more and more serious in our country. Uh, Gas, electricity, and if there is uh, any chance, we will also talk about oils like gasoline and etc. We'll talk about the opportunities this market can create and the challenges we will face in this market. Specifically, let me have an introductory section. Um, my friends will provide you further details. We have several serious opportunities that we have to take uh, advantage of. We haven't used them. We have technicals in all the areas, and I'm sure we haven't used our technicians. We have uh, developing companies with great qualities, and I'm sure we haven't used those opportunities too. We also have great capital uh, in the private sectors, and again, we even hadn't had plans on using them, and we have around $100 billion in reals in hands of our people. We have no definite solution to solve this problem. I think one of the uh, greatest opportunities that we have is the energy disequilibrium, which is becoming a threat nowadays, which everyone can nowadays feel it. That's why to solve the disequilibrium and optimizing the energy usage is very important and has been through the last 10 years. Our energy usage in last 10 years have been uh, half a point more than the energy creation. It's interesting to know that in Article 12, manufacturing support from 94 Shamsi, from then the optimization of energy was introduced. After some time, the bylaws were completed and perfected, detailed. Recently, a few gas and electricity optimization permits were enacted. A recent item that was legally pursued, uh, it was specified steps that we need to take, and we are in a point that I think we can go more seriously, we can continue more seriously, and those I already noted. Because of the new problems that we can feel, and to solve the disequilibrium, we have to go through them. Our goal here is uh, to specify the size of this project and this market, and finding out the possibilities and challenges. I will not take up so much of your time, and I will let our guests here speak. Um, Let Dr. Shariati speak first. Doctor, can you talk about this worry in the parliament about the priority of optimizing the energy? And I think this project is being discussed by the support of this article. In the name of God, hello everyone, and those who attended this and those who are following us online. I have to thank the Research Center of the Parliament and all those who participated and helped this event. This will help the discussion of helping and solving Iran's problems, especially the disequilibrium of energy. And there is some sort of consensus about this issue. Now, about the solution, we will talk, and I hope decisive executive solutions will be made. It can be said that we actually do not need new regulations to solve the disequilibrium of energy. We have the infrastructures. We just need the activists of economy and the use of the already made legislations. The issues we had previously are now solved, and now we only need a serious action, a serious decision from the organizations to solve this problem and start executing the legislation. My second introduction is why this 46th article is very important to this equilibrium of energy. My friends have hinted in the panel before this discussion. We are facing new challenges, especially in the recent years. Our first important challenge is the responsibility and the authority is not decided and specified in our country. In the Ministry of Oil and Energy, there are two organizations with small equipments and facilities are responsible in the oil industry. One is responsible for manufacturing and the other is responsible for use. After merging Sava and Sana, which made Satwa, and the energy and productivity department was destroyed, and there was the responsibility to make renewable energy. In other areas, there did exist offices in agriculture, structures, and all the other industries. There was no centered responsibility to take on the responsibility, let alone the manufacturing, which had an existing authority. Who is responsible for making electricity in our country? Who should be looked for? In energy management, it's not like that. We sometimes have paradoxical rules. Uh, Perhaps in agriculture, there is a rule that neglects uh, rules in another industry. This centered responsibility, centered authority was enacted with the most amount of abilities under the president himself, assigning the responsibility, and the head of this organization was the parliament was responsible for that. In the discussions we had with guardian councils and so forth, we decided that we have to make the president responsible, and he is responsible. One person has direct contact with the president and is responsible for this organization. A second note and second challenge is the financial resources and the permits. We were talking about that in the optimization market before, but because we predicted them after the project, the investor, especially in this state of economy, he wouldn't like investing in these matters. Even if someone decided to honor us with their presence, after a few years they ask the gas department for gas and they say, we've got no gas. This has happened before. We've had these problems with renewable sources. They were forced to enact the permits just because they were responsible. That passive financial support did not work in our country. I do not want to say it wasn't good enough, it was not complete. It didn't have financial support. Well, we specified that in the law of energy management for testing by defining an account for energy optimization. The money circulates through different accounts of energy companies. We had many discussions with these companies that with the 1404 budget, the prediction that is made, the number we agreed with on by the Commission and Energy Management, it's around 80 million 2 months. For the financial support, the investor guarantees, and if you even couldn't sell that in the market, we will support you. As you saw in the presentations, if they are worked on good and perfectly, we will have optimized the energy by 30 or 40%. The main problem is that if you fix the market economy, the investors will come to you. They will calculate and they see that it is going to be profitable. Those who decide have financial reasons. If a machine manufacturing company says that this will be more profitable, more than 80% to 300%, they will definitely do this. This market must work, and its requirement is updating the bylaws which already existed based on new needs, new situations. We will talk about that in the future. Uh, I guess my time is up. In 46 article, we have predicted the requirements of the new approach. Uh, the important thing is we have to specify the responsible authority, and he or she is not going to be the sole person, but it has to be centered. It shows that uh, the executive organization do not need to take all the uh, matters in hand. They only need to uh, support the resources and legislate. If the market is supposed to do that, but if they couldn't, they will support. They are not supposed to execute themselves. They only need to manage the responsibilities uh, in their own executive organizations. We have the budgets, it's already specified in the parliament, and they cannot spend that somewhere else based on the legislation. I hope the execution of this rule can help our financial resources, investors, and also the people who calculate in their own house how they must optimize their own energy resources. I hope all this can save us from the energy crisis. And of course, it will have profits for our economy. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that we have two parts of 10 in which we talk. Please talk in the first part, please talk about the opportunities of the market, and in the second part, we talk about the challenges. And also, at the end, we'll have a few minutes for our audience to ask questions. Dr. Bahmani, head of energy department at Plan and Budget Organization. He's a technician. He has years of experience in the government. Can you talk about this note, if any note you have? That even though legislations were applied and related companies were present and the private sectors did invest in the sections, why didn't this happen till now? The Article 47, and how is the Article 47 helping this? Well, in the name of God. Hello everyone, respectfully. Let me congratulate you on the recent celebrations and my condolences for Bandar Shah victims. I hope that God will furnish them with patience. About energy optimization and the environment, we found out about this market in the year 1994, Shamsi, with the discussions we had in the High Council of our country, which all resulted in In the year 1999, Shamsi, we created the bylaws of uh, creating the energy market. This market is the continuum of the general opportunities we had in 1993 budget plans, which was to overcome the obstacles of manufacturers. Uh, it was given out to remove all the obstacles for uh, energy creation and Article 12. So what happened if we take a look at the projects in the last 10 years from the year 93, Shamsi, it shows that we weren't successful much, unfortunately. Uh, if we want to look for the problems, we can find a few main issues, but the thing that Iran is struggling with most for the disequilibrium of energy, I think we all agreed that it didn't happen in one day or one year even, as Dr. Shariati has already mentioned. The disequilibrium of energy resulted of the resignations, the not doing things that happened gradually. We do not have lack of uh, regulations, and the main rules that are enacted, um, like the optimization of energy usage or energy manufacturing, and the new rules like uh, financially supporting energy manufacturing, which I will point out sooner or later. These can all solve all our problems, but they need us to try and do our best. But fortunately, in the seventh plan of development, the government decided to take distance from the plans that were enacted after the revolution and try to solve the problems that we are facing and feeling in our country. I can say that the seventh plan of development, based on how much it pays attention to energy optimization, is one of the uh, strongest plans in the previous 10 years. Well, that is because of the endeavors of our parliament members and their view on energy usage, which were practically trying to solve those problems. And a few good things happened in that article. My friends have already mentioned uh, the optimization and introduction of new organizations to manage the energy usage in oil ministry and energy ministry. And I can say that one of the first results of the seventh plan is this article. We practically didn't have any improvements since the beginnings of 1403, and for the first time at that year, we had 9 billion uh, 2 months allocated to energy optimization and energy usage optimization by oil ministry. Well, when we look at the this equilibrium of energy more deeply, energy creation in our country from the wells or the ground that we um, extract energy is around 0.3 or 4 million barrels of raw oil. So we practically, apart from the exports, we have 0.3 or 4 barrels of oil. We have that much potential in energy optimization. In the development plan, we have plans for around 85,000 barrels of oil. Well, sorry, if we are successful in developing our tools optimizely and effectively in order to uh, go through with our plan, I'm sure that a major part of our disequilibrium of energy will be solved, and we don't even need to uh, work with manufacturing. And of course, manufacturing energy will need to uh, go forward, but uh, we must know that we cannot solve the problem of disequilibrium of energy with manufacturing. We can increase the number of optimization with the rules enacted in the uh, plans, in our plans. For the executive plans in seventh plan, we have Article 12, more than 38 billion of projects, renewable energy sources we are working on. The main reasons that they are succeeding is the guarantee of optimization that optimization companies are providing. I mean, companies of optimization. And by the way, it is pointed out in the law that we have to use the private sectors for these areas. Whether they didn't have enough financial support. I mean, the Article 12 is where the investment repays. Well, our projects were actually mega projects, and maybe doing them was not possible for the private sectors. We needed to provide an environment that, while we supported the financial resources, meanwhile we had to provide them with working capital. Well, the optimization of energy usage does guarantee that, and the law allows us, and the financial support also allows that we can use money from the Article 12 and permits for financial support for the beneficiaries or investors of energy optimization. They can use these permits in energy stocks. Maybe the investors or people could buy these stocks, and the authorities of energy optimization could use these resources. That was all. We will talk about the pathology later on the second part. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Bahmani. It's your turn, Dr. Mirshams. Are you going to go through with a PowerPoint or? All right, here you are. But Dr. Mirshams, I think this is a desirable point in our country. We had this equilibrium of energy, but the context was that we are going to solve that by manufacturing energy. Now that we are talking about optimization, I think that is a good point by itself. If you may, can you please talk about these companies, the experience, how did they communicate and relate in this area? Did you have any chance to be active in this area? And how do you think the situation is for these companies to be more active in this area? Thank you. Hello, everyone, to all the audience, respectfully. And now, well, you know that our country is facing an energy challenge, and that's affecting all the aspects of our governance. One of the main points is that one of the main resources that can overcome this issue is energy optimization. The whole world, even in the US, the main solution to energy is energy optimization. Somehow this is getting attention all around the world, and in our country, I think the problem is much more extensive uh, than is common in all around the world. Most our industries, a large amount of our industries, are taking much more energy than needed. Our structures, as a main user, are using more than about 2.5 points. So we have a great potential for optimization in energy usage, and that potential shows a good market. Well, it seems like we have a 50 or 16 billion 2 months worth of market in optimization. Maybe no country in the world has that market or a market that extensive. A point that we have to point out is the execution of regulations. Let's take the usage pattern rule. If only 40% of that was applied, we wouldn't have all these problems now. Or the Article 12. In the whole world, in order to access that market, they had a model named SCO, Energy Service Council. The energy service companies had projects and invest, and they also execute the projects, and they get the profits from where they invested. Now, in the recent years, although this industry is working on that around 15 or 16 years, it's maybe because of the low energy prices. The companies investing are not interested in this market. Now, the energy optimization can help and encourage all around the world. The SCO projects have budgets of $4 billion. In our country, we may be able to see these kinds of projects too. I think that is the only way, actually, and it can be practical, is the market development and energy services development. There is no other way. The energy manufacturing are not applicable. They need much more resources. But energy optimization needs even less resource, and they need less time. With energy optimization, you can get the results much sooner. But it seems my friends have already given an example about that. the disequilibrium we have last year was about 15,000, and this year is about 20 or 30 megawatts of disequilibrium of electricity. But only in the light area we have around 10,000 megawatts of optimization. Just take in mind the other potentials. Practically, with applying the already made strategies, we can get good results. It must be done from the government. Government can make the infrastructures. We're looking at the private sectors. If government has the will to do it all, it will definitely play a great part. The thing is, this will does not exist, and the will that I think does not exist is because it doesn't need much of financial support. They only need to make the infrastructures and create the trust. Investing in this area, if is supported, can be one of the most markets like gold market or the real estate market. In my first, I've already pointed it out. One of the challenges we face in the energy optimization is lack of focus, lack of legislation. We have a legislation, a rule that a central organization must take control, but after 6 months and a few months passed, we haven't seen that organization being created. Although this organization was going to be meta-organizational in order for them to supervise other companies and organizations and help in the energy optimization, but still the rule and regulation scene is very weak, and I think if it isn't applied, it's much better. I mean, the current proposed plans. This shows that the serious will does not exist in our country. They do not want a strong authority and a central organization. And all these waiting, we are talking about waiting for a challenge which is very existential in our country. It's harming our industries day by day, and the reports are disgusting. And now most of our industries can only manufacture for 9 months. I mean, in the summer, during the summer, they will close 3 days through the week. It's a lot to say. Only because electricity does not exist, we have to close the whole factory. In different industries, a lot of money invested, and all that harms people in generally. That is where the pressure is applied. If the government creates this environment in optimization, I think this area can be managed and facilitated. And please do not invest in energy manufacturing. Well, the gas industry is more of a challenge. So the thing is, companies are ready, but they have no trust. I mean, companies are ready to start out in this area. I mean, the Article 12 has been on hold for 4 or 5 years. The whole country was waiting for it. And now my friends have pointed out 38 billion 2 months were invested by the High Council of Energy. Those projects were applied less than 1%. That is a failure, a complete failure. The thing that Dr. Shariati has already mentioned, uh, there must be a will in the parliament to apply the rules. Actually, the already made legislations are complete, but if we could apply 40% of the current regulations, there would be great changes and improvements. If an institution could support the current regulations and stop the not doing and not applying of rules, we could solve a great portion of our problems. We have around 50 or 60 energy supply companies, but because this market is not transparent enough, there is a lot of bureaucracy. It took around 1 year for us to apply our projects. We had a project for sugar companies. We had to pursue it non-stop. It was full of challenges, and we had to leave it be because of the bureaucracy that exists. And I think these can be solved real easily. And we're talking about a market which is very large, and it must be facilitated. The beginnings must be facilitated because it's just beginning. We have to facilitate the way at the beginning. Imagine a project of $1,000 million applies with the facilities. It can have great outcomes. The project that took around 1 year and even more returned all the investments in only 1 year. 4 million square meters of gas could be optimized. It wasn't only because of the uh, hardships and strictness on prices, for instance, and all things that could discourage us in investment. We plea for, well, as I said, the regulations are great, are perfect. We need pursuit for creating those organizations. This market must be looked after. And now two of the organs who are the secretaries of this project don't know what to do. The Department of Energy Organization doesn't have a COO and doesn't know what to do. And this encouragement goes everywhere. This is a good team, and it has the potential for 2 or 3 big organizations, but because of the late decision that was made, it happened, and it could be prevented by good decision making. We identified the challenges in this area. Around 30 challenges exists, and we can look after them later. The thing is, all our problems could be looked after only with the legal stuff and the supporting stuff, financial support. That's what all is needed for the trust making. Thank you very much, Mr. Mirshams. We'll be with you for another part, another section. I think to some extent we have identified the opportunities and the challenges. And also, I have other notes that I have to say. To answer the question where our country stands, the energy usage intensity index is very important. It says how much energy you use to compared to the energy you make. We use, this index in our country is two times it is in the world. We have to use half we use now. That is really interesting. But of course, there are some issues with this index. You could look at it another way. We have to uh, manufacture twice the number, twice the amount of energy we do to solve our problems. Anywhere in the world, if you focus enough, you can find the waste of energy, especially in the governments. I just wanted to say this note. I continue to what my friends have said, that we have high potentials. If we didn't have problems, this would be a great opportunity. Dear doctor, seeing that all our friends they agree and that we don't have any problem in manufacturing energy, could you explain more about how the parliament was supervising this area and in what area is the government far from applying the legislations, the bylaws of the market, Article 12, Article 46 was refined, and the new market bylaw is being made out of the previous one. Dear doctor, can you tell me the supervising that the parliament is conducting, especially Article 46, how is it happening and what are its considerations? Hello again. I hope our discussions are proving profitable. Before I say answer to your question, let me just point out, as Mr. Misham has already mentioned, the draft of this legislation, luckily in the commission, with the message that the president himself has given out, that he agrees with this organization and him being the deputy of the president himself. And I hope that government can decide that as soon as possible. And I have already mentioned that this is the best chance we have because he's going to be a part of the cabinet and executive. It's better to identify him from the beginning. The board of ministers and anyone who is going to be responsible for this organization, they will have to receive a permit and they can conduct the draft of this rule conducted with the board of ministers. Begin as soon as possible. I asked, when is it going to start? They said as soon as the organization shapes. Parts of this draft and legislation doesn't even need conducting or refinement. It's obvious. It's easy to analyze and assess the amount of energy some organization, institutes, and people are using. It's better to start sooner. We can start from there and then we can uh, continue through other parts of this rule. I don't want to talk about this bylaw very much. There are a few challenges. Luckily, Dr. Pezeshkian are endeavoring really hard. As the president, he is really aware of the situation. He is pursuing it in boards of directors, sub-boards, and sub-organizations. They are talking about challenges that are really important. The first note, if we are going to discuss energy optimization, we have to consider justice. I mean, when we say that we are going to reward you when you use less, there are also some people who, due to the situation and their position in the market, cannot use much energy. Where are they placed in this market? So the justice aspect of this market, which the Supreme Leader has bolded, we have to consider that too. It has been looked upon in the draft that we are going to consider a portion of that for households. Each Iranian household has support from a portion of this market. The government has to consider a small portion. We cannot get trapped in problems which are social, and we do not need to either. The distance is so much that we can solve it by rewards, for instance. We could increase the rewards for small households. It will be definitely effective. So this is the share that we need for the justice of energy optimization. Each household could get a permit or a certificate for the optimization of energy. They could sell the certifications. The prices were out in the last year, I guess. It was 17,000 2 months. And this is how the economy of this project is being formed and shaped. The justice part must be with this project. The second point, I'm going to explain a bit more. In different scenarios that we are going to enter this market, the difference of energy baskets are there, and we are going to talk about energy politics, also about the market based on households. These all must be in a way that do not harm households. Well, because the households are more vulnerable. And if we stand to the social constructs, we have to consider the households in the beginning and the limitation. We have to put limitations for the government. For instance, governmental institutes must not have any subsidies. They are receiving subsidy oil, governmental energy. What is that for? Those are the first reasons behind the disequilibrium of energy. In this past, some of the institutes, like companies or in energy services, we must not do something that these companies are the account party of the government. I mean, the government must not have them sell their stocks of energy. They must face the final users of the energy themselves. If those companies do not have the ability to do their job, at the least the government can provide support, like 50%. And the company says, I take responsibility from the entries of a city like Zanjan, and this is how much electricity, this is how much gas we have. If a household does their part and receives the certificate of optimization, other countries in the world are doing that through culturalization. They haven't done even set up equipments or anything else. We have the potential to gather all these certificates and control the entry and exits of energy in a city, the different aspects of it, because I worry about that, at least I do, because if the government is going to be responsible for that, first, he will be the executive himself, and second, the price shocks will be practically, I mean, the government will allow these companies to bear the price shocks. Third, it is also related to the chain from manufacturing to usage. We must provide subsidies for the final user that the government will have to provide that. That is the justice for energy optimization. There must be two things done. First, the subsidy must be removed from the beginning of the chain till the end, which it is removed completely. Part of that has been applied in a few rules and legislations. Second, if there is a baseline, which must be, because we want to give subsidy based on what is below and above the baseline, that baseline must be afloat. If in the first year the baseline is easygoing, we are easygoing on the baseline, the second year it must be a percent of the first year. Gradually it must become more strict. 85% of how much last year users used. Gradually, year by year, it becomes more strict, but considering the reality and not just an order. It began maybe probably by the year 1400, Shamsi, and the years after it gradually decreases. It has standards which may be strict themselves. It can happen for each industry based on the last year, and we can also consider the SCC sigma for the government to manage um, this baseline year by year. So finally, the government is only responsible for the subsidy, and in a way that it's fair for companies and institutes and households to buy the share and certificates from the market. Thank you. I too think we do need a real opportunity to fix that. Dr. Bahmani, you have the stage. Could you please talk about the challenges that you wanted to talk about and also the actions the government took, representing the government itself? Because the market is like this. We have a few solutions for the market. A new market is going to form with the same tariffs because the intra departmental prices are different. I hope you can discuss your opinions in this area. How much time do we have? For me to talk in a way that Mr. Misham can talk to. But whatever Dr. Sharifi has said about the justice and stuff is how can we enter the concept of management and this equilibrium manner, like the versions applied all around the world, different mechanisms. There are tools for the government where the expenses for optimization is generally low in different sections. The government must be allowed to manage. The investors can invest where the tariffs are higher. Our market is the same. Our country is a country which we pay subsidy, and this difference in tariffs provides a potential for optimization of energy optimization. In different sectors like agriculture, where the costs and expenses are lower, and investors can come in and have permits, they could sell these stocks and certificates on stock exchange market. So, as we go on, solving problems of the energy market is very important for us in order to succeed. There are different faults and problems, as Dr. Mishams and Dr. Shariati has mentioned before, that we have to solve with the new energy organization. The first issue in the pathology we made is the guarantee for investors, and thank God, luckily with our optimization account we could achieve that. The other issue is the inflation and impulses of the currency market. That's why we need to provide currency for these kinds of projects in the government, and we have to provide a department for that. Second is the insurance of optimization, meaning that the investor must be sure that if something happens to his investing, the money he invested, there must be an insurance that guarantees. In the market pathology, the assessment and confirmation is very difficult and complex. It's like that in all around the world. Internationally, some of the optimization projects must be separate from all the complex assessment process. You do not need to go through all the complex assessments when you are replacing an old autobus with a new autobus. That autobus is definitely going to use for transport. That also happened in Article 12 of our projects on Article 12. We ignored all the complexities of assessment, and we guaranteed the government that we will pay you 3 months worth of installments, and this is necessary. So easier ways for assessment must be applied. In the pathology, the other issue is fixed courses. Because of the currency inflation rates, we need to think of a course because of the risk we have. We have to analyze the FFS of every courses, and we did consider 2 years freely. In the new version, we may not even need FS. We can consider fixed courses and ask the companies to work on these terms. What Mir Shamspur has said is trust making for private sectors. This trust making comes from guaranteeing the capital worth of their investment. Unfortunately, we do not have a synchronized form of agreements or contracts. Everyone has a different form. We conducted a plan in the Plan and Budget Organization. It had the synchronized format for contracts, and I hope we can provide executives with these formats so they can apply it. Next issue in pathology, as Mr. Mirshams has pointed out, we have services which we have already explained, but unfortunately, the system is so complex. I guess we have only one company ranked 1 in service in energy servicing. We have none. Great. We have a few companies ranked 2 and ranked 3. We are pursuing it in the Energy Institute of Higher Education and rules which were conducted in the year 1992, Shamsi. The next issue in pathology of optimization market is the long temporal distance, which I think is because of the passivity of executive companies, especially the optimization organization. They had managers who always delayed, and it made us a large amount of problems. I'm saying that for Dr. Shahayati to hear. We had projects in Metro, and we still haven't gotten the permits for the year 14,000 Shamsi. The other is the increasing debt to investors that might affect our trust. I hope we can shorten the process, and I hope that with the help of the optimization of energy department we can enact the rules faster and more accurate. I hope as time passes, with the help of uh, optimization and usage of energy, at least we agree on this with the parliament that this organization must not be an executive organization. Definitely, we believe that this organization must not be operational. We are deciding where structurally it is placed. It must manage the projects, not operate on them. And it must be able to solve the problems from afar. I have nothing more to say. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. My friends have mentioned that this inflation must not be applied to households, and the government must take it into account. If I may give you a few examples, they cut the power on the cement factories, and the cement prices went sky high. The pressure this applies on this household is so much higher than you increasing the gas price, electricity price. I think in a way these limitations in some indirect ways can affect households. We must consider those too. Another point is the untrust that exists. And let me give you a few examples about the weak will of government in this area. There was a project enacted from the Article 12. 600,000 motor houses were supposed to be initiated in our country. We had an agreement, a threefold agreement, and a few articles made this agreement impossible. The article was about if the energy department is going to refine, they have to agree on the maintenance too. The maintenance agreement must be several times more than the whole agreement itself. All the companies of energy services were against this article. They wanted to remove this article. A few articles are there and they cause problems. We lack so many things in the bylaws and executing regulations. When a law is enacted, in about 6 months, all the companies are supposed to apply the rules. Sometimes even 9 years after the rule was enacted, the companies did not execute. It was written in a way that it couldn't be executed. But this bylaws of the market was enacted, and you could easily, very easily change the outcome. The bylaw was enacted. I was on the meetings. 12 different organizations are in the meeting. They all want to give their own opinion. The environment is there, budget and planning is there. The Chamber of Commerce is also present. They are all there and they all have the right to veto. They all have the right, and nobody can enact. Several meetings were initiated, and every time one different person from that company comes. I mean, if today we have one representative, next session with the same subject, another representative comes, which doesn't know anything about these previous subject. This shows that we do not have an agile group team. We could do that by one or two or even three. We could use Japan as an example. Uh, they are working very good on ESCO. Secretary of State of Osaka wanted to uh, define ESCO projects on the structures. They applied SCO on only 6 structures and optimized 6 million yen. The whole project was done by 3 people. Assessment, certification, money supply. Our whole ministry could apply SCO with only 3 people. We had a committee in our government. I think the committee is a challenge itself. So we had a committee, and now imagine that you want to make a letter to someone in the energy optimization department. There is no head. You don't know who is in charge. This is something that can be transparent very easily. A lot of our issues in infrastructures can be solved real easily. The solutions are not so complex. We could improve our market just in a few simple steps. We just have to consider a few points. There are 3 or 4 categories for our challenges. One is culturalization. If you talk with the managers of industries, they don't know there is a market like this. This needs culturalization. This needs awareness. Some time ago, at least they would prepare, initiate events that would increase the awareness of the managers. This amount of time in which people don't know what to do, I think it's really harmful to government. I asked Dr. Shariati to pressure the government. The government was supposed to initiate these organizations, but none of them happened. They are disencouraged. This is the things that we have to do, and in the legal aspects of it, the budget and planning organization, I think it was 4 years ago, Dr. Shariati, we had 30 or 40 meetings about the services of the energy department. Only one meeting was left to initiate that department. It has been 3 years, and that last meeting wasn't held. And now companies cannot do projects under ESCO. Well, it was a straightforward project. You can pay an executive. Now Article 47 has facilitated it, but still some points are not defined yet. Again, insurance of the contract. We, as those who played a role in the first ESCO project, we had problems in every single case, getting our money back, and we had no supporters, no legal support. We need insurance support. Right now, the insurance company do not know about us at all. Technicalities are really complex matters. We need them in the beginning. If a few projects start easily, I think we'd better not be strict in the beginning. We can gradually uh, overcome the challenges. And about the investment itself, right, the optimization account has been seen, but I think a pre-certificate could help. There are great amount of funds and resources. I know that this year we had 80,000 2 months of resources. Uh, It was predicted. It seems that it's much more. But it is said that it's only for uh, supplying the optimization fund. A real great challenge is uh, funds, and the funds must be low rated. They cannot have a fund with 30% of interest. Now, I hope that the facilities that they have, they can at least use the pre-certificates and so on and so forth. And I think easily we can use this potential that we have in this in our country in only if we overcome these simple challenges. We only need a few, 3 or 4 technicians, and the managers, executive managers, should not be operationally involved. Thank you. Thank you very much. If anyone in the audience has any question, they can have a microphone. Hello. Actually, what I wanted to talk about was actually health policy, but well, accidentally, I'm here and I'm happy about it. The question I wanted to ask, I'm Mardani, PhD of uh, health policy at Kerman. Doctor, you said that our control pressures are like this, and we do not want to pressure the households. We are going to gradually decrease the prices. They are good words, but we know that before we go after the households, considering the social tolerance uh, done by uh, parliament research centers, it's better to, before going after households, it's better for the authorities to take some hard choices. We are Muslims and we have all heard about Muhammad eating a date. When organizations are themselves transparently reporting on the energy optimization, and now all the reports are ambiguous, and we see no transparency from the authoritative figures and organizations. But these details that some special organizations receive before others. Some companies receive some information sooner than others, and now a few are selling the solar panels in a way no one knows. If you would be more concise, look, talk about control levels when we have a definite structure. Isn't it better for authoritative organizations to do a few of these culturalization and a few of these hard choices to apply them to themselves before they try to apply to the households? Isn't it better to start from ourselves? Sorry if it was a
خیلی
long
ممنون از
question.
سوالتون. نمیدونم کی تشریف آوردید
Thank you
در
for your
جلسه.
question. I don't know
من
when
عرض
you
کردم
uh,
که اقدامات
entered this meeting, but because I
محدودیت
said that
احیانا
the limitation on acts
سقف بعد
must
از
start
سطح
from
دولت
the
باشه و حاکمیت هم
government,
بخش
and
تشویقی
the
و
acts
حمایتی از
of
دولت بود.
reward
من
must
اشاره
start
کردم به
from the
کمک مالی.
households. We pointed that out already. Hello again. I have only one point to say. Well, it's a famous saying, uh, get a taste of your own medicine. The government must start the optimization of the energy from itself. And my friends have already mentioned it. The executive organizations must start the optimization and increase it by 5% per year. They must also provide 5% of the electricity through renewable energies until 20%. 1 month ago, we provided solar panels for the rooftops. We must be the forefront for renewable energies on the rooftops. I think this must be repeated in the 1405 Shamsi. I think it must be more strict for less energy consumption and renewable energy sources. 6 or 7% of our energy peaks comes from governmental institutes. Parliament must decide to first apply these energy use reductions from itself. Thank you. Doctor, you said that the permits are going to last 2 years longer. I think that needs fixing. For example, a project that lasts only 1 year has been supported for 2 years. I suggest we focus on uh, the hours of the day, especially in lights. Any hour that is enacted, you could add 20%, 10 or even 5%. But I don't think that 2 years more can do anything, especially that you can take FS and me, the investor, can actually uh, edit the FS. We in the new bylaw wanted to change the process in the market. We didn't want to take FS. We are waiting for the new organization to be initiated, and that is what the law wants. We will pursue it, and we will pursue the points you said. I hope we can encourage the investors. Thank you very much. In the 1 minute left, I will just recite the notes made by our friends, and if you have any extra points, just you're free to add. Energy optimization is one of the main points of, and it is accepted by the government that it's a key solution. And we also decided that a priceless solution can help other sectors be involved, like the private sectors. And as my friends have already mentioned, we already have the legislation, and we do not lack any law. We only need steps to be taken, especially a few infrastructures. For instance, the strategic energy management department, that it must be formed and initiated. It is on work. The energy usage optimization account has been made as a support pillar for money return for investors in this area. And we need refinements of the previous actions, especially the bureaucracy, and assessments, and complex assessments, and new and proper tools like insurance, as Dr. Bahmani has mentioned. If we want to prioritize this area, we need a foreign support, foreign equipments. This is all that was mentioned, and I hope this is a very important and profitable panel, and different beneficiaries were present. I hope good things happen through the optimization market and the collaborative funds enter this market. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming.